Hello students, welcome to chemistry class. Today we are going to continue our chapter atoms and molecules, and the topic for today is writing chemical formula. Learning outcomes. After the completion of the topic, students will be able to number 1 define the term chemical formula. Number 2, state the significance of the chemical formula of a compound. Means you will be able to tell what does a chemical formula indicate. Number 3, you will be able to summarize the rules for writing the chemical formula. Number 4, list the steps to be followed while writing a chemical formula. Means which step you will follow to derive a chemical formula. Number 5, you will be able to derive the chemical formula of different compounds by crisscross method. Number 6, you will be able to identify the compounds from their formula. If formula is given, then you can name the compound to which that formula belongs. Students, for the better understanding of how to write chemical formula of various compounds, let's first recall some important terms. The first one is ion. An atom with charge is known as ion. For example, Na plus, Cl minus. So ions are of two types, cation, which is having positive charge, and anion, which is having negative charge. Next is valency. Valency is the combining capacity of an atom of an element. Next term is radical, that we must know before writing the chemical formula, that is also known as polyatomic ion. It is a group of atoms carrying charge. These are of two types. Negatively charged radicals are acidic radicals like carbonate, sulfate, and positively charged radicals are basic radicals like ammonium. Students, this is the table which I have already sent you, and this is a table which will help us in writing the chemical formula. So this includes all the ions which are cation, metallic part, anions, and radicals. Coming to the topic chemical formula. Chemical formula is defined as the symbolic representation of the composition of a compound. Means here symbols will be used. For example, chemical formula of sodium chloride is NaCl. Na is the symbol of sodium and Cl is the symbol of chlorine. So students, here you are able to now define the term chemical formula. Hence we have achieved our first learning outcome. Next is significance. Chemical formula indicates or tells us number 1, names of the elements present in the compound. Number 2, number of atoms of each element present. Number 3, number of molecules. Number 4, molecular mass. Number 5, number of moles. Students, like here sodium chloride, in this formula it indicates that the names of the elements, that is sodium and chlorine. Number of atoms, 1 atom of sodium and 1 atom of chlorine. Next is molecules. Here is 1 molecule of sodium chloride. And coming to the next, molecular mass and number of moles, with which we will deal in our next topics. So here you are able to write the significance of the chemical formula. Means you can now state what is the importance of writing the chemical formula, and we have achieved second learning outcome. Next is, what are the rules for writing the chemical formula of a compound? Number 1, the valencies or charges on the ion must be balanced. Like here you can see, this is the formula of calcium oxide, right? So calcium is having +2 charge and oxygen in the form of oxide is having -2 charge. So it is balanced. Number 2, the symbol of the metal means positive part, cation, should be written first, followed by the symbol of non-metal, anion, which is negative part. Here you can see the calcium is cation part, Ca2 plus, which is written on the left side, and followed by oxide, which is written on the right side. Third one, in compounds formed with polyatomic ions, which are also known as radicals, the number of ions present in the compound is indicated by enclosing the formula of ion in a bracket and writing the number of ions outside the bracket. Students, this is very important point. For example, in case of magnesium hydroxide, the formula is MgOH twice. Here you can see I have enclosed it in a bracket. If I will not place the bracket, then it will show it is H2 only. But this number is with oxygen also, right? So we will put bracket here. Next is, in case the number of polyatomic ion is 1, the bracket is not required. Like in case of sodium hydroxide, you can see here is only one hydroxyl group, so we need not to put the bracket. So here we have achieved our third learning outcome, that is now you are able to summarize the rules for writing the chemical formula of various compounds. Next is the steps to write chemical formula. Number 1, write the symbol of the positive ion, that is metal, on the left side and the symbol of the negative ion on the right side. This we have already discussed. Number 2, write valencies or the charges on the top right corners of the symbols. Number 3, crisscross the valencies and write them as the subscripts to the symbols. Means we have to write the valencies after crisscross at the bottom of the symbols. Number 4, remove common factor if any, otherwise leave this step. So here students, now you are able to list the various steps which must be followed while writing the chemical formula. That is, we have achieved our fourth learning outcome. Next, examples. How to derive the chemical formula. The first one is potassium chloride. Here you can see the steps have been followed one by one. Number 1, we have written the positive part on the left side and the negative part on the right side. Secondly, valencies are put at the top right corners of the symbols. Thirdly, valencies or the charges are crisscrossed and they are written at the bottom of the symbols. Here you can see both the charges are 1. So there is no need to write at the bottom of the ion. So the formula becomes KCl. Next is aluminium oxide, Al3 plus O2 minus. After crisscrossing the valencies, this 3 will come at the bottom of oxygen and this 2 will come at the bottom of aluminium. Here is no common factor, so it will remain as Al2O3. Next is calcium carbonate. Calcium is Ca2 plus carbonate. Now here we have used polyatomic ion or the radical carbonate. We can, students, here cancel the charges +2 and -2 so that the formula comes out to be CaCO3. Next is magnesium nitrate. Magnesium is Mg2 plus, nitrate is NO3 minus. This all we will come to know from the table which we have discussed in the previous class also. After crisscrossing, here magnesium will get one charge at the bottom and nitrate will be enclosed in the bracket because this too will be with full radical. If I will not enclose it in bracket, it will look like this oxygen is having only 2, but it is with the whole radical, so I have to put the bracket. Next one is iron 2 chloride. Students, in the previous class we have discussed the examples of the elements with variable valencies like iron. Having two valencies, one is iron 2 which is known as ferrous and other is iron 3 which is known as ferric. So here in case of iron 2 chloride or which is also known as ferrous chloride, the formula will come out to be FeCl2. Similarly, by the same method, in the case of iron 3 chloride which is known as ferric chloride, because Fe3 plus is ferric, the formula after crisscrossing will come out to be FeCl3. So students, here you are now able to derive the various formulas with the help of crisscross methods. That is, we have achieved our fifth learning outcome. Students, I will send you the Tata H video explaining the various steps to derive the chemical formula of different compounds. Now, the identification of the chemical compounds from their formula. If you know the symbols of various ions, whether it is cation or anion or radical, then you can name and identify the compound. For example, here you can see the formula is BaOH twice. Ba is barium and here anion is hydroxide. So the compound is barium hydroxide. Similarly, NaBr, sodium bromide, aluminium chloride is AlCl3 and copper sulfate is CuSO4. Magnesium fluoride, here cation is magnesium and fluoride is an anion. So here you are able to identify the compounds from their formula, that is, you are able to achieve sixth learning outcome. So students, at the end of the topic, you are able to define the term chemical formula, state the significance of it, summarize the rules for writing the chemical formula. You can list various steps which must be followed to write the chemical formula. You can derive the chemical formula by taking the help of the table, and you are able to identify the compounds from their formula. So we have achieved all the learning outcomes. Here is one assignment for you. I will send you the link of the same. Kindly solve this assignment in your notebooks. Thank you.